Sinking driveway, settling patio, collapsing stoop, uneven pool deck. It's a fact. Concrete problems don't get better with time, but they do get better when you call APS.
It's Sunday morning, September 25th. I'm James Spann. This is a special live update for Tropical Storm Ian, which will likely become Hurricane Ian soon. We're live on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll kind of go through where we are now, where we should be in a few days. And we stress there's a lot of uncertainty here, but we hopefully can answer some of your questions. So let's go right to the satellite view. Early this morning, this is a look at Ian in the Caribbean. And currently, the top winds are at 50 miles per hour. Not much change in intensity overnight. And again, the system should get its act together pretty quickly over the course of the next few hours here. The center is currently 345 miles south-southeast of Grand Cayman, or 625 miles southeast of the western tip of Cuba. And the sun is up over the system. This is the first visible satellite view we have early this morning with the sun up. And it will be interesting to watch that. And again, conditions favor rapid intensification, RI, over the next 24 to 48 hours. And this should basically ramp up from a tropical storm to a major Category 4 hurricane fairly soon. So this is the latest NHC forecast track in the house, and this was issued this morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. And I'm doing this live. We're live on YouTube and Facebook at 6:47 a.m. Sunday, September 25th. And remember, you got to stay current with this. If you're working with old information, you're working with bad information. Anytime we deal with tropical systems. But again, you can see on the current forecast track, it comes over the western tip of Cuba. It's a major hurricane late tomorrow night, early Tuesday morning. And from there, this remains a major hurricane at a point west of Tampa Bay Wednesday night. And on this track, the hurricane center brings it into the coast of Florida, southeast of Tallahassee, as a weakening Category 1. Late Thursday night. And we'll just say up front that we, use caution when you see that. Again, a lot of people say, well, weakening in Category 1, but the wind envelope of the hurricane should be expanding at that point, and the forward motion will likely be slowing down as a trough bypasses the system to the north. And if you don't think, a 1 or a 2 is that bad, it just kind of sits there. Ask anybody that went through Sally. That was a 2 that just sat there. It barely moved here. So, yes, weakening is likely because of shearing as it approaches the Florida coast, but there will still be a lot of impact. And this is a low-confidence deal. Let's just kind of go through some of the modeling here. This is the ATCF set, and you can see there's spread really from Panama City down to almost Fort Myers. But most of the members bring it right along the NHC track. And there's a bigger spread in the global models, I'll tell you that. Let's look at the European, which is typically very reliable. And the European brings it down into the Florida Peninsula, like the original idea, down below Tampa Bay. And then it kind of hooks back to the northwest a little bit once it gets inland. And the European is an outlier to the right. This is the American model, the GFS, and it's an outlier to the left. It has been that way for a while. So these huge discrepancies in the global models are interesting to me, really, at this range. Typically, they're in a little better agreement at this point, but that just, again, the screaming message here is the uncertainty involved. And a lot of this has to do with the upper air. I don't want to get too weather geeky and peg the geek meter here, but that's what we do sometimes. So this is where we are now in the upper levels. And hurricanes aren't steered by fronts or easy things at the surface. That you want to look at the upper level. You see the upper low that's over Alaska. And really, that holds the key up there. And it doesn't make a lot of sense where some feature over Alaska holds the key, but how that thing comes out of there and evolves into a trough over the eastern states will kind of determine the ultimate motion. And this is one reason the Weather Service is launching special upper air balloons. Normally, we just do 2 balloons a day. to get the upper air data back, but we're doing 4 a day in many locations across North America. So this is how the trough should look toward the middle and end of the week over the eastern U.S., and how that trough evolves. And the depth of the trough will kind of determine what happens. And it's interesting to me, the European, the trough moves on out, and it actually kind of brings Ian a little back to the west once that thing gets inland. In fact, let me just show you the deterministic output of the European. And we're not big fans of this, but, and again, this is not the forecast at all, but watch what happens. The European brings it up toward Tampa, up toward Jacksonville, then it kind of jogs back a little to the west. And if that's the case, the eastern half of Alabama could see some rain once this thing is inland. So again, that's just one idea that's on the table. So everybody wants to know about impact. That's all people really care about, and we'll talk about that in just a second. I will show you the rain potential here for the next 7 days. This is coming from WPC, NOAA's Weather Prediction Center. And obviously the big rains are over the Florida Peninsula on the east side. And remember, as you look at this thing, remember the big impact in terms of storm surge and wind and rain will be along and east of that track line. Not west, but east. East is the beast. And that would put the peninsula on that bad side and Alabama and the panhandle on the good side with an offshore flow, winds out of the north. So there's no storm surge issues off to the west of this thing. But anyway, this is the latest rain guidance. And again, this could easily change, but you can see just a big soaking for the peninsula up the South Atlantic coast. And in Alabama, understand, we've got some rain going on today. In fact, let me just quickly peek at the ongoing situation. Here's the current radar, and you can see we've got rain falling over Alabama this morning. For a lot of places, the first time in a long time it's raining. This is with an approaching cold front, which has nothing to do with Ian. And these showers are kind of diminishing this morning. We'll probably see more later today. But again, after today, we'll be dry for a pretty good chunk of the week. And the question is, what about the following weekend? And again, there's so many questions. I know it's race weekend at Talladega this coming weekend, and it's just really too early to call. The rain shield could be well to the east, or it might nose into parts of East Alabama this weekend. But again, that's the current look there from WPC. This is the intensity guidance from the ATCF set. And you can see that a number of the members do bring it up to Category 4 strength. But notice the rapid decrease in intensity after about 3 days. And that's with strong shearing that will likely take place with the hurricane in the northern Gulf. And that's the reason the Hurricane Center is forecasting this to weaken from a 4 to a 1 at the time of landfall. That's very plausible and seems like the right idea here. So a lot of people are just joining us, as I see. And let me just say also, when it comes to the questions people have about impact for any specific point here, it's too early for that. It's just too early. You've seen the changes in the track. You've seen how everything has changed here in the last couple of days. And so trying to forecast, for the amount of rain, the amount of wind, for any place like Tampa or Fort Myers or Tallahassee or Orlando. And I know a lot of people have trips to Disney World based on the questions I'm getting. It's just too early. I wish I could answer those, but we're not able to do that right now until the track gets locked in. And it should soon. Once we get and of course, we're getting the data from NOAA's research jet that's in the area now, and the extra upper air data should give us a much higher confidence look here within the next 24 hours or so. But again, the Florida Peninsula is going to be on that wet side where there's going to be a lot of wind and a lot of rain most likely for the latter half of the upcoming week. But exactly the storm surge, the amount of rain, the tornado threat. Remember, there could be a few tornadoes along and east of this thing as well. We're just not ready to go there yet, and nobody can do that. And it's just not quite that time. So if you're just joining us, we're live here at 6:54, and we've got Ian, which is now packing winds of 50 miles per hour in the Caribbean. And this will likely become a hurricane soon. In fact, rapid intensification is likely. And the latest track from the Hurricane Center, again, this is the 5 a.m. Eastern Time track, with little change from the late night advisory last night. They bring it up toward Appalachia Bay, and it comes in a little southeast of Tallahassee Thursday night as a Category 1, after being a major Category 4 And as we've talked about earlier in this update, don't get too hung up in that weakening Category 1 thing. And it's important to know that, but at the same time, the wind field will be expanding and the hurricane will be slowing down. So there will be a lot of wind and rain impact, even with that weakening expected. And the model consistency is just not good. Again, the trough that will kind of determine the motion here, it's based on a feature that's been coming in off the Pacific, and there's no upper air data over the Pacific. You've got to have data for these models to do well. Garbage in, garbage out. But now that it's getting within the North American upper air network, we'll have better confidence soon. This is the ATCF set. And again, you can see that spread. But most of the members are near the NHC track, but the global model is just all over the board. This is the European, which is an outlier to the right. This is the GFS, the American, an outlier to the left. And again, it doesn't do much good to look at the deterministic runs. You want to look at the ensembles, which is what these are, the range of possibilities. And so much is based on this upper air feature, this over Alaska. But again, that'll be getting into British Columbia and Alberta soon, and we'll have a much better feel for that. But again, on the intensity side, this will likely become a 4. It's going to do RI, rapid intensification, and then weaken as it comes up towards the coast. That's the current idea. And remember, any of this could change. Any of this will change. As you look at this, I'll say it again. I said it as we started, and a lot of people are just joining us. If you're working with old information, you're working with bad information. And again, this is a early Sunday morning update. I'll do this again on the regular weather briefing tomorrow morning. So that's it for now. Don't want to keep you guys too long. Thank you for watching. And we will be watching carefully. I'll be posting updates throughout the day. Had a great day yesterday. We were down in Tuscaloosa at Bryant-Denny on the Walk of Champions. We saw so many people. It was just great. And we hated to cut off that line, but I had to go in the stadium and do the regular duties I do in there, including the 6 o'clock weather segment on 3340. But I'll be back on 3340 tonight at 10, and then back kind of on the regular schedule tomorrow. But updates throughout the day. We'll post that on the social media platforms. And again, the next video here will be tomorrow morning, the regular weather briefing. And for those that are new here, I do these twice a day, typically during the week, but on special occasions, we'll do it on the weekend. The early morning briefing is launched about 5:30 a.m. I know that's early, but it is what it is. And then in the evening, I'll do one in the afternoon about 2:15, 2:30, 2:45. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great Sunday, good, peaceful, blessed Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow right here. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and God bless.
Cracks in brick, cracks in block? Call Alabama Professional Services. Leaning or bowing basement walls? Call APS. Sticking windows or doors? Call APS. Settling or sinking foundation? That's right. Call APS. It's a fact. Foundation problems don't get better with time, but they do get better when you call APS. Call Alabama Professional Services today.